As I read through the New Testament for the first time, I could see that there was much more about Jesus that I was, as a naturalist, as somebody who didn't believe in supernatural events, I was having difficulty accepting. All those miracles that Jesus worked. I was not a believer when I first read the Bible. And so as I read through that, I thought, is this guy a magician? I mean, you see on the pages of Scripture in the Old Testament and in the New Testament that clearly, even in those times, there were people who could fool you with some form of sleight of hand, magic tricks. Okay, so is that what Jesus was? Is that how he fooled his disciples? Well, first of all, I want you to think about the nature of what it is Jesus did. It's one thing to give you the appearance, for example, of producing something from nothing. It's another to feed 5,000 people from just a few loaves of bread and a few fish. That's very, very different. That's different than a magic trick. That is something that is substantive because everyone's touching and eating the food. But more important than any of those miracles he worked, Jesus does something that no magician has ever done in a way that is demonstrably true. And that is the one act that I investigated most. I was most curious about this. That's the resurrection of Jesus. If the resurrection is true, if that really happened, that changes everything. And I knew that as an investigator. I knew that, hey, if I'm going to investigate one thing, it's going to be this one, the resurrection of Jesus. I needed to know, first of all, if it's a magic trick, was he really dead? Well, there's actually a very good reason to believe that Jesus was truly dead. Number one, they saw water come out of his side. That's a condition called pericardial or pleural effusion that only occurs after your heart stops beating. The fact that there's a hidden piece of science in the New Testament in the Gospel of John, where John sees water come out of Jesus' side when he's on the cross, actually demonstrates to me that he's already dead, because that kind of pleural effusion only happens once you have cardiac arrest. So that was the first thing. I knew he was dead. Then the question is, do I really think he's alive? Well, do I think that people lied about this? We have the history of the resurrection recorded in the Gospels by people who had nothing to gain for their claims. Look, most people will tell a lie for either the pursuit of a couple of things that these folks didn't pursue. They weren't trying to get powerful out of this. They weren't trying to get money out of this. They weren't trying to get stature out of this. As a matter of fact, their claims of the risen Christ cost them their lives. Yes, he was really dead. And apparently people saw him alive and were so committed to this claim that they were willing to die for it. That's not an act of magic. That's just we have to kind of put our hands around that and try to think about that actually happened. And if that happened, if Jesus truly rose from the dead, he's far more than a magician. As a matter of fact, that single act demonstrated that he was more than a man as well. He was God himself with the ability to rise from the grave. And when I figured that out, when I actually investigated that claim and came to that inference, I realized that everything for me was going to change, because Jesus is not just a magician. He's not just a man. He is God.